protection and development of resources for freshwater fisheries in the Mekong Delta. The fishy business of the Mekong Delta. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the incredible Mekong Delta, a place where fish are more than just food. They're a way of life. If you love seafood, this is paradise. If you don't, well, you might just change your mind after today. Fish, the real kings of the Mekong. In Vietnam, fish aren't just a tasty meal, they're an economic powerhouse. The Mekong Delta is one of the country's top seafood-producing regions, thanks to its warm climate, fertile waters, and a never-ending maze of rivers and canals. It's like a giant all-you-can-eat buffet for fish. And of course, for the people who catch and eat them. But fish aren't just about filling bellies. They also help keep the environment balanced and play an important role in research, breeding, and aquaculture. So yes, they're kind of a big deal. Vietnam's master plan: fish first. Now, Vietnam has a smart strategy for the Mekong Delta's economy. The top 3 priorities are fisheries because, well, we love fish. Fruits, because what's better than a fresh tropical mango after some grilled fish? Rice, because fish and rice go together like best friends. The government is working hard to make the Mekong Delta a top agricultural hub in Asia, ensuring its products are not only delicious, but also sustainable. The mighty Mekong and its 9 dragons. The Mekong River is the heart and soul of this region, splitting into 2 main branches in Vietnam. Tien River. How River? These rivers then flow into the sea through 9 mouths, which is why we call this place Q Long, meaning 9 dragons. Sounds powerful, right? Imagine 9 mighty water dragons carving out this vast, fertile land. But the magic doesn't stop there. The delta is a web of rivers and canals, like nature's own highway system. Boats are the main mode of transport here, and in flood season, even some roads turn into rivers. Fishy rules, because we can't eat them all at once. Now, if you think we just catch fish whenever we want, think again. We have rules to keep fish populations healthy. Fishing season. Young fish appear mostly from May to September, especially in June and July. So, this is when fishing nets with tiny holes are banned, to give baby fish a fighting chance. Selective fishing. Instead of catching everything, fishermen use smarter techniques to allow fish to reproduce. Sustainable farming. Farmers breed native fish that thrive in this environment. No foreign fish taking over. Nature's fish sanctuaries. Some areas are protected to make sure fish can live and grow safely. A few famous ones include Tram Chim National Park, Dong Thap, a paradise for birds, fish, and anyone who loves nature. U Minh Thuong National Park, Kien Giang, home to ancient wetlands and plenty of fishy friends. Tras Su Kajuput Forest and Giang, a dreamy water forest where you'll see fish swimming right beneath your boat. Bung Bin Tien and Giang, a giant freshwater lake that's like a 5-star hotel for fish. We even have fish release programs, where young fish are put back into rivers to keep their population strong. It's like giving them a second chance at life. Final thought. Let's keep it sustainable. The Mekong Delta's fishery is not just about today's catch, it's about the future. With smart fishing, conservation efforts, and sustainable farming, we can enjoy delicious fish while keeping nature in balance. So, as we explore this wonderful region, let's take a moment to appreciate the hardworking fishermen, the mighty rivers, and, of course, the fish that make it all possible. And if you're hungry after all this fish talk, don't worry, we'll find you something tasty soon. The amazing water world of the Mekong Delta. Welcome to the Mekong Delta, where water rules. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Mekong Delta, a place where the land is flat, the rivers are wide, and the fish are plenty. If you ever wondered what life would be like if water was your best friend, this is the place to find out. 1.1 Geography. Where are we exactly? The Mekong Delta covers almost 4 million hectares. Sounds huge, right? Well, it makes up just 5% of the Mekong River Basin, but a solid 12% of Vietnam's land area. Think of it as Vietnam's rice bowl and seafood platter all in one. This region is shaped like a giant triangle and is bordered by Ho Chi Minh City and Tay Ninh to the north, Cambodia to the west, and two seas, the East Sea and the West Sea, to the east and south. The land is mostly flat, only half a meter to 1.5 meters above sea level, so flat that if you drop a marble, you might have to chase it for miles before it stops. The Mekong Delta is home to 13 provinces. The biggest one? Khian Giang. Massive at 6,299 square kilometers. The smallest? Can Tho, just 1,389 square kilometers, so small you could almost bike across it in a day, if you don't stop for too much coffee and banh mi. Now, why does this matter to fish? Well, this landscape is perfect for them. The rivers, canals, and marshlands make an all-you-can-eat buffet for fish, shrimp, and crabs. This is why the Mekong Delta is one of the biggest seafood-producing regions in Vietnam. 1.2. The climate: hot, wet, and fish-friendly. Let's talk weather. The Mekong Delta has two seasons: hot and even hotter. Technically, it's a tropical monsoon climate, which means it's warm, humid, and perfect for growing rice, fruits, and, of course, fish. Average yearly temperature, 27 to 28 degrees Celsius, so bring a hat and some sunscreen. Hottest months, 30 to 31 degrees Celsius, sweat is free. Coolest months, 24 to 25 degrees Celsius, which still isn't that cool, is it? Rainy season, May to October, bring an umbrella and prepare for splash zones. Dry season, November to April, when the water levels drop, but fish still rule the rivers. Rain is life here. 90% of the annual rainfall happens in the wet season. This keeps the rivers full, the rice fields green, and the fish fat and happy. 1.3. The mighty Mekong, a fish highway. The Mekong River is one of the longest in the world, stretching a whopping 4,800 kilometers from the Tibetan Plateau all the way to Vietnam. It's like a superhighway for fish, people, and goods. When it reaches Vietnam, it splits into two main branches. Tien River, Song Tien, the upper Mekong branch. Hao River, Song Hao, the lower Mekong branch. These two rivers create the famous Mekong Delta, with a dense network of waterways over 4,900 kilometers long. That's like having roads everywhere, but made of water. And guess what? This network helps fish migrate, trade to flourish, and locals to live the river life. Ever heard of the Nine Dragons River? That's what the Vietnamese call the Mekong because it flows into the sea through 9 river mouths.
Cool name, right?
Imagine 9 dragons splashing into the ocean. No wonder the fish love it here. 1.4. Floods, a blessing in disguise. Every year, the Mekong Delta experiences flooding, but here's the fun part. It's actually a good thing. The flood season starts in late June and peaks around September or October. This might sound scary, but floods bring fresh water, fish, and fertile soil. In high flood years, 2 million hectares, half the delta, is underwater. That's a whole lot of wetland. In low flood years, only 1.4 million hectares get flooded, and fish populations struggle. So, while floods might mean wet feet, they also mean more fish for dinner. However, with new flood control dikes, more rice can be grown, but fish habitats shrink. More rice or more fish? That's the big debate. 1.5. A fishy business, aquatic life in the Mekong. The Mekong Delta is home to 2 main aquatic zones. Freshwater ecosystem, rivers, canals, and flooded fields where fish enjoy a peaceful, plankton-rich life. Estuarine and coastal ecosystem, a mix of fresh and salty water, perfect for shrimp, crabs, and brackish water fish. The Mekong River is a great place for fish migration. Whitefish species swim into flooded areas to grow big and strong before returning to the river for the dry season. Blackfish species prefer to chill in swamps and wetlands, while some venture into rivers when the water gets low. And let's not forget the mangrove forests, home to 40-plus salt-tolerant trees, which act like a baby fish nursery. Fish grow up here before heading out into the big blue sea. 1.6. A fish wonderland, Mekong's inland fisheries. With so many waterways, the Mekong Delta is a fish paradise. Scientists have counted 255 species of freshwater fish here, 55 of which are commercially valuable. That means dinner is always swimming somewhere. Some famous fish you might find on your plate. Catfish, the superstar of Vietnamese fish farms. Snakehead fish looks scary, but tastes amazing. Gourmet, a favorite for crispy fried fish lovers. And if you're feeling adventurous, you might want to try elephant ear fish, served standing up on a plate like it's still swimming. The big picture. Why the Mekong matters. The Mekong Delta isn't just about fish. It's about life, culture, and the environment. The river feeds the land feeds the people, and the people respect the river. Without this delicate balance, life here wouldn't be the same. So, next time you enjoy a delicious Mekong fish dish, remember, behind every bite is a story of floods, rivers, and the amazing water world of the Mekong Delta. Enjoy your time here, and don't forget to taste the fish. The amazing and troubled fish of the Mekong Delta. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Mekong Delta, where fish once swam freely in abundance until humans decided to get creative with their fishing methods. Today, let's dive into the fascinating world of Mekong fishery, from traditional techniques to modern challenges. Why are fish running out of the Mekong? For generations, the Mekong River has been a fish lover's paradise. But recently, the fish seem to be playing hide and seek and losing. Why? Because humans have been fishing like there's no tomorrow. Here's what's happening. Electrofishing. Imagine fish getting an unexpected electric shock. This method stuns or kills everything in the water, making sure no fish is left behind, but also ensuring no fish can reproduce. Fine mesh nets. These nets are so good at catching fish that they scoop up even the baby ones. The problem? If you catch all the babies, who will grow up to become big fish. Overfishing, too many fishermen, not enough fish. It's like a buffet where everyone grabs food at once, leaving nothing for the next round. Catching breeding fish. If we keep catching the parent fish, how can they make more baby fish? Pesticides and pollution. Chemicals from farms flow into the river, turning the water into a fish nightmare. Imagine trying to swim in a pool filled with soap and shampoo. Dikes and flood prevention. Blocking water routes stops fish from traveling to their favorite breeding spots. It's like locking the doors to a fish maternity ward. How traditional fishermen catch fish without destroying them all. Now, let's talk about the smart and skillful ways Mekong fishermen have been catching fish for centuries. Some methods are truly genius. Hand catching. Ever tried grabbing a slippery fish with your bare hands? These experts make it look easy. Spearing fish, a bit like the Hunger Games but underwater. Throwing nets. Fishermen toss circular nets, hoping to catch dinner in style. Fishing with rods and lines, the classic way. Hook, line, and patience. Using traps, bamboo baskets, and cages cleverly lure fish in, but they can't find their way out, kind of like a seafood hotel with no checkout. The flood connection. Why water levels matter. Here's something interesting. When the Mekong floods, it's actually a great thing for fish. They have more space to swim, breed, and grow. But with so many flood prevention dikes being built for rice farming, the fish are losing their natural playgrounds. No floods, no fish babies. Fish farmers, a double-edged sword. Many people in the Mekong Delta raise fish in ponds. Great idea, right? Well, not always. Many farmed fish eat wild-caught fish. So, people catch tons of small fish from the river to feed farmed fish like catfish and snakehead. The result? More farmed fish, but fewer wild fish in the river. The future of Mekong fishing. If we want to keep eating delicious Mekong fish, we need to be smarter about how we catch them. That means following sustainable fishing rules, no more electrofishing or fine mesh nets. Letting baby fish grow up, give them a chance to have families too. Keeping the water clean. Nobody likes a polluted home, not even fish. So, next time you enjoy a plate of delicious Mekong fish, remember, somewhere in the river, a little fish is swimming for its life. Let's hope it makes it to adulthood so future generations can enjoy this amazing natural treasure. Now, Who's ready to try catching some fish the traditional way? Don't worry, no electrofishing allowed on this tour. Fishing in the Mekong Delta. The law, the fish, and the funny bits. Alright, folks, let's talk about something serious. But don't worry, I promise to keep it fun. You've all heard about the legendary fish of the Mekong Delta, right? Some are huge, some are delicious, and some, well, they just want to mind their own business. But here's the thing. In recent years, fish stocks have been declining, and the Vietnamese government has had to step in to keep the rivers alive and kicking. 1. The laws of the fish land. To protect these slippery creatures, Vietnam has introduced several rules. Decision 417/QDTTG, 2019. Think of this as the Fish Protection Act. It ensures the Mekong Delta adapts to climate change while keeping its fish happy and plentiful. Resolution 1864/QDBNNKH. This one tells local authorities, hey, do your job. Keep the fish safe, stop pollution, and don't let people fish like it's a free-for-all buffet. So, if you see a fish swimming around looking relaxed, it's probably because it knows the government's got its back. 2. The fish police. Who's watching? Now, just having rules isn't enough. Imagine telling people not to eat cake, but leaving the cake right in front of them. Temptation is strong. That's why there are enforcement measures. Raising awareness. Posters, flyers, and community meetings educate fishermen on what's legal and what'll land them a hefty fine. Catching the rule breakers. Officials patrol the waters to make sure no one's using illegal methods like electrofishing. Yes, that's a thing. Like giving fish an unwanted electric shock. Sustainable fishing rules. Only licensed fishermen can access certain areas, and they have to follow eco-friendly methods. So, if you're planning to fish in Vietnam, best check the rules unless you want a surprise visit from the fish police. 3. Saving fish and making money. A win-win. The government knows people need to make a living, so they're not just saying, stop fishing. Instead, they're finding smart ways to balance conservation and business. Eco-friendly aquaculture. Fish farms are becoming more sustainable, so we don't overfish wild populations. Ecotourism. Instead of catching fish, why not let tourists like you come and admire them? Fish selfies, anyone? New jobs. Alternative careers are being introduced for those who rely too much on fishing. So, if one day you meet a fisherman who's now a tour guide, well, you'll know why. 4. Keeping the waters clean. No fish wants to live in a dirty home, right? That's why there are efforts to monitor water quality, to stop pollution from farms and factories, create fish breeding zones, areas where fish can do their baby fish business in peace. Use water sustainably, because if we drain the rivers dry, we won't just lose fish, we'll lose a whole ecosystem. Final thought. Be a friend to the fish. So next time you see a fish in the Mekong Delta, give it a little nod of respect. It's swimming in a river that's protected by laws, monitored by officials, and admired by tourists like you. And remember, in the Mekong, the fish aren't just food. They're part of the region's history, culture, and future. So let's keep them swimming strong.